What's up, guys? Knowledge, hope, and faith here. Just wanted to do a quick update why I chose to quit chemotherapy. I quit about 6 weeks ago from now. Anyways, let's get to what chemo is. Chemotherapy is a cancer treatment which consists of toxic drugs that target all fast-growing cells in the human body or any animal figure. It kills good cells in the body such as intestinal cells, digestive enzymes, hair, white cells, red blood cells, and everything else that multiplies fast beside killing cancer cells. Chemotherapy temporarily shrinks a tumor by killing the fast-growing cells in the tumor, but is unable to kill the cancer stem cells, which are slow-growing cells that start the tumor, and the slow-growing cells are also responsible for metastasis, which means spreading. After an initial response, the tumor comes back more aggressive, and it's more likely to be metastatic. When the recipient of the chemo, person receiving the chemo, has their immune system destroyed by the cancer, and the cancer comes back, it usually comes back in too many places that a lot of patients die from reoccurrence. The cancer I have is Ewing sarcoma, stage 4. It's the most aggressive bone cancer in the world, and majority of the patients, 70% of the patients from previous statistics I saw, die after doing the chemo and stuff, but most of them die from reoccurrence. Here's a story how I got into chemo. Basically, it was last year, November. I was diagnosed with the stage 4 Ewing sarcoma. I've had pain and limping like 6 months before that. I went to the GP, but all they did is send me home with painkillers, multiple painkillers, saying it's nothing, you're too young for anything. It's probably a muscle problem. You need physiotherapists, whatever, stuff like that. I eventually gave up going to the GP because he was full of crap. He never scanned me once. This boy got bone pain, let's scan him now. That didn't happen. So high-dose chemotherapy was the only treatment option given to me when I was diagnosed with stage 4 Ewing sarcoma of the bone, which started on my right pelvis and metastasized to the acetabulum, just the bone underneath the glute. Ischium, that's the sit bone on the left, both pelvises and spine last year, November 2018. A total of 10 tumors. The disease drove me to wheelchair and crutches. Not knowing too much about the cancer back then, I went ahead and accepted the treatment. My treatment began early December of 2018. I would say around 5th. So I went ahead and researched, a week before I started my treatment. I got real educated about my disease, spending most of my spare time researching, and I have discovered that I've discovered the metabolism of my disease. I found out that my cancer feeds primarily on glucose and has a positive glutamine intake. This is displayed on multiple studies that I saw online. So glucose is anything carbohydrate. Carbohydrate slowly turns into glucose, and glutamine is in pretty much everything. Broccoli is in fish and protein and everything. After knowing the tumors feed on glucose, my first reaction was to cut out the carbs immediately, because all carbs turn into glucose, and that can feed the tumors. I chose to replace the carbs with healthy fats. Then some results of that was within the first 1 or 2 cycles, 9 tumors shrank into half, and the main one by 4 centimeters. My oncologist was surprised by the drastic results, and I told my oncologist about my diet and lifestyle change, and he said there's no scientific evidence for it. I asked him, do you do research on natural substances on cancer, diet and cancer? He said no, they only do research on drugs and cancer. Then I asked him, how will there ever be scientific evidence? He was silent at this point. They don't do research on natural substances and cancer. They never will. They only do research on chemotherapy, a new drug that comes out. how they could treat the cancer with drugs. That's all the research is on. More, at this point, I discovered supplements though. When I went home that day, I discovered some supplements that could help me through the chemo and for the cancer. So at this point, I discovered that the supplements can help hugely with the cancer, and the immune system can fight cancer if you supply it with the right nutrition and fuel. How can the immune system fight the cancer? Some people are asking. Well, when the cancer, I saw this on Cancer Research UK. When the cancer gets in the bloodstream to spread to other places, majority of them die off. They die because they get killed by the immune system. The white cells take them out. The neutrophils, the white cells, there's different type of white cells, they take them out. And the ones that survive, the white cells, as in they escape the white cells, they hide from the white cells, they're the ones that settle down in other places. And having a good immune system can basically slow down metastasis, or some point stop it for a while. So I started taking turmeric extract, black seed oil, and ginger, in addition to high dosage of vitamin C. I took A to Z vitamins. Within 2 weeks, all my pain disappeared, and I no longer needed wheelchair or 2 crutches. I only needed 1. Found out that I found a supplement routine to protect me from some damages and side effects of the chemo. Some of the side effects that I got, well, using supplements, I was able to block off some of the side effects, but not all of them. I was mainly able to protect my immune system. So I was never admitted to the hospital for an infection. I did get a temperature once, but taking vitamin C in high dosages and taking nicotine and some green tea, the temperature, I basically killed off the virus within one day, and the temperature went on the second day. And my hospital doctors were screwing at me for not going to hospital, saying I could have died from that and blah blah blah. But I never really gave a damn, because I know not everyone's immune system is trash. And if you know what you're doing, you're protecting your immune system, it's not going to be trash. And you should be able to, if you got a good immune system, why wouldn't you be able to fight infections, Main side effects I suffered was nausea, anemia, nasty painful tongue ulcers. I could hardly talk sometimes. I could barely eat, and mental fog. I was so weak that I found it hard to walk to the park. I used to get dizzy because of the low red blood count that I had, but I still tried my best to go for walks and do some exercise at home. The chemo made me so weak, I would be in bed most of the time, and my social life was hugely affected by this. My friends would want to take me out with them, but I would turn down the requests all the time because I wasn't feeling fit enough to travel anywhere with them. I did miss out on a lot of enjoyment, and the quality of life was very poor. At 2 points, I needed blood transfusions because my red blood cells were dangerously low as a result of chemo. So discovering chemo results maybe 4 or 5 months into it, a little bit after. So as months went, I completed my 6th cycle of VIDE. So vincristine, ifosfamide, doxorubicin, eptoside or something. Very powerful high dose drugs, and it was the time for an MRE scan to see the progression of the chemo. Because after the 6th cycle, they usually switch the chemo, and I was on the 1-year trial. 1-year trial, VIDE trial for Ewing sarcoma. On the appointment of the 7th cycle around April time, the assistant doctor discussed the scan results with me. Turns out that the main tumor grew through the chemo. The chemo failed and is growing more aggressively in comparison to when I didn't do the chemo. The assistant doctor borrowed a professor to talk to me, and the only option was to continue with the ifosfamide drug and the actinisin D, which is a tumor antibiotic. I argued with my doctor that it's pointless taking the same chemo drug that didn't work, because I took ifosfamide before and my tumor grew even though I took the ifosfamide. The only choices he gave me was to take the ifosfamide, which was the drug I was already on, and the cancer became more resistant to Or he gave me the option to go home and do nothing. My mom pressurized me, and the doctor was trying really hard to encourage me to go ahead with the same old drug. So being under the pressure I chose to go ahead with the 7th cycle. Then I've been changing my mind, you know. The 7th cycle was supposed to be a combination of the same old drug, ifosfamide and actinomycin D, which is a tumor antibiotic, but it's not. I mean, all the other drugs failed. 4-drug combination failed. Then how the hell is this one little tumor antibiotic gonna help? You know, so actinomycin D is a tumor antibiotic that's very harsh on the red and white blood cells, and it has serious side effects. Like if someone gets a cut, they could have continuous bleeding, and they might not heal properly. Just according to my research, I asked my doctor. I asked my mom, if the doctor gave you paracetamol and it stopped working on you, will you still keep taking it? For what? To get more side effects? That made her really think. My mom finally told me, you know what? You got a valid point. There's no point doing this anymore. Second day into the treatment, I told the nurse, I don't want to do chemo no more. And I told them to take out all the wires from the PICC line. Collected some white cell producing medicines, injections from the pharmacy and left the hospital. You know, they give the white cell injections to help you produce more white cell, and I needed that urgently because I needed to build my immune system back up. It was damaged. So post chemo, I gave up chemo. I went home and started doing more natural therapies. I did a scan about 2 to 3 weeks from there. Saw my doctor and saw the scan results. Showed that the main tumor slowed down by 50% and the secondary tumors are stable. There was no further metastasis. I explained to my doctor why I quit chemo, and she said she was fine with me not doing it, doing the chemo, because it can't cure me. It can only delay things a little bit. But wanted me to do a PET scan and do a CT scan for the lungs. I was never going to do chemo again from that point because it made the tumor more aggressive. And I'm not going to sacrifice my quality of life because apparently it can delay things. I don't think it's going to delay things. I think it could shorten my life. Next appointment was about 5 weeks from the existing chemo, and the scan showed stable disease with no further metastasis. One of the tumors disappeared, and they can see only 4 on the scan. At this point, my beard is growing back, hair is growing back, blood counts are coming back, and I'm getting back to my normal life. When I look at the mirror, I can finally recognize myself. Quality of life is hugely improving. About radiotherapy, I was offered high-dose radiotherapy after the chemo failed, and obviously after all the scans. I was offered radiotherapy for 6 weeks for the main tumor because it grew quite a bit. The chemo made it more aggressive, and since I didn't do chemo, that was the only way to control it, some radiotherapy. I asked for immunotherapy drugs, but my doctor wouldn't prescribe it because she don't believe in it. I thought it's a very effective way to treat cancers for your immune system. I took the radiotherapy, but that would only take care of the main tumor and not the secondary tumors on the left pelvis, right acetabulum, and on the spine. 1 week into the radiotherapy, I did a PET scan and it showed no progression of the disease. Secondary tumors are still stable with no chemotherapy. So just to summarize, chemo worked well for 2 months, and then it made the cancer more aggressive. During chemo, I found a routine to protect myself from most of the side effects. And I got on a routine to get rid of my pain, which consisted of black seed oil, omega-3 fish oil. It consisted of turmeric, ginger, blah, blah, blah. If anyone wants to know the routine, I can help you out with that. I could tell you why I did for it. That's how I can help you out. I quit chemotherapy, done more natural therapies, and it slowed down the cancer by 50%. Quit chemo and the quality of life hugely improved. I'm still pain-free since 2019 January, since I started the supplement protocol for pain, and I gave up all painkillers that I was on for almost 6 months. And What are some of the ways? What are some of the ways I'm dealing with cancers right now? If you ask me that question, I'm dealing with it through diet. So I'm having a high healthy fat diet. I'm having moderate protein and I'm having a lot of vegetables. I'm doing good supplementation. I'm doing juicing. Reason I juice is because when you cook the vegetable, you kill most of the enzymes in it, probably 60% of it. But when you juice, straight away it goes in the bloodstream. The fiber can be hard to digest. I throw away the fiber and I keep the juice. And I take that. Helps hugely, helps to clean the blood, helps to deliver all the nutrients in the body. I do exercise time to time. Radiotherapy makes me a bit tired, so it's harder to do exercise. I do herbal therapies, and my one of the other therapies is prayer. Prayer meditation is hugely important for cancer because if your mind is right, nothing else is right. If your mind is good, everything else can go to the right direction. So we come from the nature, and if there's a cure, it's in the nature. It's not gonna be in the drugs. Drugs are foreign to the body. The body doesn't recognize drugs. That's why there's side effects. The natural therapies I do, I'm pain-free after 8 months. My tumors have slowed down. I feel better. I'm getting back to a normal life. There's no side effects to it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to my update. Please, if you can, like, subscribe, and I'll keep you updated with my further journey. Pray for me, I pray for you, and hopefully we can beat cancer together through natural therapies. No matter what situation you're in, don't lose faith in God, because God can rescue you from the deepest troubles and the most hopeless moments. If you have hope in God, you have faith in God, and you do what God says, God will take care of you. No matter where you are, what happens. So I have a blog called knowledgehopeandfaith.weebly.com. I'll link in the description. On that blog, you could stay up to date with my journey. Thank you for listening. God bless you. Take care. Bye.